What is up, my brothers and sisters, my agents of respect? It's your boy TreJuanJohnson back with another episode of the No Disrespect But podcast. Before we get started, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you feel free to comment, just make sure you keep those comments respectful. And look, if you want to support your boy, my Cash App is going to be in the episode description. So feel free to support. But today, man, we got a special guest. We got Jalen Davis, man. You can catch him on his YouTube channel at Jalen Davis. Dude, avid NFL fan, avid NBA fan, avid college football fan. Always putting out the reaction videos, man. It's usually hilarious. So you guys gotta watch that content and just get to know one of the rising stars, I think, in the game in terms of what we talk about with streaming and content creators. But Jalen, man, the floor is yours. I know we're gonna be talking about the Kellen Moore hire, and so I just want to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself to the folks.
All right, man. What's up, y'all boys, man? My name's Jalen Davis, YouTuber, up and comer, love doing reactions, basketball, football, WNBA, college football. Got my Ryan Williams shirt on right now, representing Bama real quick.
Roll Tide, baby.
Always. So yeah, that's all. I'm just like, just react to everything.
For sure, man. And I think it was maybe a few weeks ago, Jalen's like, hey man, you gotta get me on the pod. And I was like, hey, like I tell everybody, it's an open door policy. You tell me when you want to come and what you want to talk about. And he said, all right, man, I want to talk about the coaching hire. And I was like, all right, well, when we hire the coach, we'll do it. And the
Sir.
announcement came out today that Kellen Moore will be the 19th head coach in the New Orleans Saints history. And my guy tagged me. He was like, "Hey, eye emoji. Like we ready to get going." I was
Hey,
like, "Well,
I
hell
was
yeah,
ready.
man." So like I tell every guest, man, is this is your show. I'm just the moderator. I'm here, and man, I want to give you the floor. Just you know, we know that today, the Kellen Moore era is beginning, right? But just walk me through just kind of how you felt just thinking about potential head coach candidates, right? We knew Dennis Allen had been fired November of last year, and Rizzi was the interim head coach. So, there was a lot to unpack about what his tenure might be like, but also kind of you started seeing a bunch of lists created regarding who might be the guys we bring in for interviews. So, just from your standpoint, what was that process like for you?
All right, let's go back from the jump, right? So Dennis Allen gets fired. I was
Yeah.
at his last game at Carolina. So I was there. I seen Dennis Allen last ever head coaching game for the Saints. Thank God. So when they were when the players were leaving the field, right? I had my phone recording. I was like, we are at rock bottom, fellas. We are at rock bottom. And it truly felt like we was at rock bottom. So then Dan Rizzi came in. Be honest with you, I never seen Rizzi as the head coach for the future. Just as an
Mm-hmm.
interim guy, get us through the season, right?
Mm-hmm.
So so boom, let's get into the off season. Not the off season, but let's get into like the our season ended. So
Yeah.
my first dream was Ben Johnson, but I knew that was a very long shot. Knew that was a long shot. So
Mm-hmm.
he went to Chicago. Good for him. Second choice was Aaron Glenn.
Mm-hmm.
Decided to go to the Jets. So then I was like, I don't know. So then I kept saying, you said Kellen Moore. You the one that put me on Kellen Moore. So I was like, I tweeted you. I said, why Kellen Moore? He said by his all his other jobs he did with the Cowboys, what he did with Dak and them
Chargers.
boys, had a
Yeah.
number one offense multiple years with Dallas, except for the year when Dak got hurt. Then he did time with the Chargers. He told me the things he did with them. So that got me on the radar of Kellen Moore. So I was locked down on Kellen Moore. Not even what's his name? Clint Kingsbury.
Yeah.
Never on him. Anthony Weaver or the Giants. What's his name? Mike.
Yeah. Kafka, Mike Kafka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like doing Kellen Moore from the jump. I was like, give me Kellen Moore. Give me a young offensive mind. It's I didn't want a defensive guy at all. I did not want a
Right.
defensive guy at all. I give me an offensive mind because that's where the NFL is heading right now. Offensive league. So so we got Kellen Moore. So it came out reports talking about some that they're gonna try to get him to stay. See, I never believed that at all. Like, offense coordinator get a head coaching job, he's not gonna turn that down. Like, no matter who it is. People saying about the cap, I won't worry about all that because I think he
Yeah.
knows. Because for one, the Saints they will give you time. They
Yeah.
gave Dennis Allen way more time than I believe he probably should have gotten. So they will give you time. They will allow you to build your roster. So I feel like that would very entice him. So that's why I feel like Kellen Moore, we got him in here. So let's get him his quarterback. We need to get him his quarterback. We need to let him build out his roster, and we need to give some time. So for the first year, I'm really looking for the offense like to be consistent. Like, what do you want to
Okay.
do? What do you want? I want your side of the ball. The defense we're gonna get to at some point, but I want your
Right.
your side of the ball to like get your imprints on there. I want your offense side of the ball. Like, well, I mean, Alvin Kamara finally get 1,000 yards. Make things easier for Olave, Shaheed, and whoever our quarterback might be. So I feel like Kellen Moore is a great person for that to lead our offense. And hopefully, I feel like defense will we get together. I know we're a little bit older, so
Mhm.
we need to shed some bodies. Hope we need this draft is going to be huge. This draft is going to see what this team gonna be ready to play in like 2 years or in like 5 years. I feel like this draft is
Mhm.
going to be a big a big implication of the future for the Saints. So the
Mhm.
pick at 9. So I'm the person that I don't care who we pick. I want
Right.
the coach to find like get the guy he want. I'm not see a lot of people on Twitter when I talk about Jalen Muro or Jackson Dart or see I don't care. Give me any one of them guys. I'm not shutting anybody out. I'm not gonna be that fan that shut down anybody, no matter who
Right.
we draft. Give you if you believe Cam Ward is the guy, go get Cam Ward. If you think Shadur the guy, go get Shadur. Go get your guy. You get your guy and you coach your guy.
Mhm.
I think Saints be back in like at least 2 3 years for being like
Yeah.
main contenders.
For sure. And you mentioned something that about the draft and its importance. And honestly, when you think about it, the last two coaches being Sean Payton and Dennis Allen, you can almost argue that their drafts impacted the start of their careers. Obviously, Sean in that 2006 class, which set the stage, obviously led by Reggie Bush. You get a couple offensive linemen out of that draft.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you get Roman Harper out of that draft. That was a defensive staple for you. I think you even got Lance Moore in that draft, if I'm not mistaken, who was
Yeah.
a long time receiver for you. So you saw them kind of build that culture through the draft,
Mm-hmm.
obviously having the free agency signing in Drew Brees, and then being able to build around, Drew coming back from that injury, but also some guys that you drafted. I mean, Marcus Colston, Reggie Bush were really big for that offense.
Mm-hmm.
Marcus Colston made a hometown hero in Joe Horn expendable. And then you look at Dennis Allen in his first draft, and we got Olave, but then you got Trevor Penny, and that took a little bit of time to
Mm-hmm.
get going, and you didn't really get many guys after that that could really be a benefit to the team. And in consecutive drafts, we probably got some guys that are okay, but not
Not that
necessarily, I
the
guess,
it
the
factor
star,
guy. You never got
right,
that.
that you can build
Yeah.
around. So to your point, what we do with the Kellen Moore regime, it does start in April with the draft, and because these are going to be the guys, the young men that he is deciding to build his program around, and if we whiff on those off the bat, already dealing with the cap situation and trying to be mindful of how we're spending that, I don't think, and I always say it's not. I don't think there's a player we didn't get because we couldn't pay him. I
Mm-hmm.
think we always can find a way whoever we want to pay. But do you want to keep going down that rabbit hole and having to, overpay some free agents just because you can't effectively get the drafting right? And obviously the most important position in football is the quarterback. And we don't know if Kellen Moore um, really wants to draft a quarterback. We got reports that there was some lack of confidence in the quarterback room, but we saw them play last year. I think anybody would have that lack of confidence, but we will see. He's a guy that's inherited multiple quarterbacks and did well with them. But one thing, you kind of say in your first year, you want to see, I guess, a little bit of offensive stability. And you used an example like, Alvin Kamara, can he get over that 1,000 yards? Can we kind of get him healthy? Can we utilize our receivers? the right way and kind of keeping them on the up and up.
and keeping
What are
them
some
healthy.
other things, right? What are some other things? I mean, whether it be hiring or even the types of guys that he could potentially bring in that says like, hey, if I start to see these things, I start to gain even a little bit more confidence going into the year.
All right, she said something about some hires, so I'm seeing that
Mhm.
maybe getting Brandon Staley as a DC. So I know a lot of people might be like scared about hearing that about what happened with the Chargers, but I
Mhm.
feel like he can be like a Dennis Allen guy, a guy that's struggled as a head coach, but can be a elite defensive coordinator. Cause last time when he was defensive coordinator, the Rams had the number 1 defense, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
So I feel like if you hire him, I think he might bring some guys from Philly. I hope he be able to get some guys from Philly to come over to build his staff. So yeah, so I'm just excited to see who his staff going to be because it's going to be like a whole new the whole Sean Payton regime is gone. So we're finna get a whole
Mhm.
different. It honestly today feel like a new
A new day.
Saints. It feel like it's a new day. Yes, it is. It feel like it's a new day, right? It feel like it's a new day in Saints football for the first time in like 20 years. Like
Yeah.
it feels like it feels like this is like we got the youngest coach in the league. Like that's crazy to think about now. We got the youngest head coach in the league, and I love it. I say I
Mhm.
love having a young coach in the league because I feel like he gonna connect with. I feel like he gonna connect with the guys here. I know a lot of people question about how he gonna run the locker room, but I feel like he be able to.
Mhm.
I feel like he be able to hold the locker room. I feel like he
Yeah.
be able to do. So I feel like Kellen Moore gonna be an underrated guy because I seen a lot of Skip Bayless and Colin Coward. The worst job. He gonna listen. Listen, he gonna be the guy that's gonna shock a lot of people. I feel
Right.
like in the next 2 to 3 years, I think the Saints be back in the playoffs. I feel like we would
Mhm.
get some playoff wins, and I'm making a prediction.
Okay.
In 3 years, the Saints will make a NFC Championship game. In 3 years,
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna hold you to that. You know,
please do.
and I can, I mean, and to your point, man, I can see that happening. You mentioned the locker room, man. We saw kind of on Twitter, you almost see a divide, right? You see a divide between team leaders like Alvin Kamara and Cam Jordan, who publicly went out and said, "We want Darren Rizzi to return as our football coach." And then you see some of our young guys like
Alante Taylor was
Alante
and
Taylor,
Shaheed.
Shaheed. You even saw Olave. He was asked
Mhm.
about him, and he said, "Hey, when you see what he can do with the receivers, you get excited about that." So you kind of saw a lot of our young guys getting excited before it was even formally announced that he could be the guy versus some of our elder statesmen who. I mean,
Who
again, they
wanted to?
came in when Rizzi was a big part of what we did, and so they love him as a human being and as a coach and as a person in the locker room. So it's understandable. But um, what do you think it what do you think it might be like when Kellen first kind of meets with the team? Do you think it may be a situation similar to where Sean Payton maybe had to get rid of some guys who weren't totally on board with what he was trying to do, and they had kind of gotten used to the way of things that they had done for years? Do you think we might see some of that, or do you think, um, in your opinion, that he can kind of rally the troops a little bit?
I believe baby to rally the troops. I believe the AK Cam. I think them boys will buy in. I I think they'll buy in. But if they don't buy in, get rid of them.
Hmm.
I said, hey, if you either gonna be with Kellen Moore, if you don't like what we got going on, then I'm sorry, AK. I love you, but we can show you the door. You
Yeah.
know, Cam Jordan, I love you. You might need to be shown the door no matter what, to be honest with you, gang. Cause but like but yeah, I'm with the young guys here because these guys gonna be here for the next 10 years, hopefully. Hopefully we have a
Yeah.
live He be some be our 1-2 punch. I think we need to get another bigger receiver, obviously, but I feel like them boys right there, I care about more about what them boys say than honestly what AK and Cam Jordan because them boys gonna be our future. Our head coach is 36.
36. Yep.
So I feel like with the youth movement, that's where we at. So I'm with the young guys.
Yeah, for sure, man. And look, man, I'm excited. And the way I know, throughout the process when Kellen was mentioned as a pro or as a head coaching candidate, there was some questions about his leadership and him being a guy that didn't show, I guess, a ton of emotion and things like that. And granted, I get it because Dennis Allen wasn't a guy that had that fiery personality. So you just kind of
You
assume
don't
that
get that fear.
anybody
You don't get that fear
that
factor,
has
you
that
know.
is going to be like that, right? But
Mm,
one of the things I said was a guy that has in his college career defeated some of the blue blood programs, like in Oklahoma, like a Georgia in his career.
see what he did to Derek
Those,
Carr.
you know, guy he did, and guys like that. I mean, you don't. I don't believe you're not a leader. Like I think you've shown leadership traits when you're David and you're going up against Goliaths every year.
Hmm.
And if you remember during those times, in Kellen Moore's career at Boise, it was always the belief that, oh, well, they're good, but they don't play anybody. And if they play against these top teams, they'll get smoked. And they never got smoked. More times than not,
Never.
they won those big matchups. But because of their conference and being in the BCS era, only two teams could get in. But think about if he had played in a
The playoff
14
era
playoff or a 12-team playoff and those types of teams, man, you talking about those guys probably vying for a national championship
could be.
with the way they were. So,
Way them boys was back in the day, boy. They don't put me on Boise.
but and I used to love their field, man.
Oh yeah.
It's like they used to blend in. It's like almost was a cheat code. But even his coaching career, right? When you look at his tenure in Dallas, and you kind of alluded to some of the things that I put out about this is where they were before he took over the position. This is where
Hmm.
they were on a consistent basis when he was the head coach or when he was the offensive coordinator. So basically head coach of the offense, if you will. And I'll tell you, Jalen, the thing that really stands out to me throughout his career, 6 or 7 year career as offensive coordinator, is his development of the quarterback room.
Hmm.
And I don't know if part of that comes from him being a coach's son, and also being a backup in the league, and that's kind of your job to really pay attention to detail and make sure you're helping the starting quarterback prepare. But when you look at the guys he's worked with over his career, when you look at a Cooper Rush who came in and was 4-1 in 5 games as a starting quarterback when Dak Prescott went down, had I think 9 touchdowns, 5 interceptions in that season, and actually showed some promise this year as well when he had to step in for Dak again.
Hmm.
And so that kind of development he showed there. Also, the way he kind of helped Kenny Pickett and Tanner McKee grow. Those guys were guys that I truly didn't think could last long in this league. And
For real.
they got a start because Jalen was hurt. Kenny Pickett got the first start, did well. He ended up getting hurt. They started Tanner McKee that
He's
last game of the
throwing
season.
touchdowns.
Right. And he did well. And the crazy thing is he's dealt with multiple styles of quarterback. And that's why it's exciting when you think of, like, I know a lot of people saying, hey, just roll with Spencer Rattler. And like I get it. I enjoyed the Spencer Rattler pick. I do feel like the Saints organization values him highly and would love to build around him and continue
Hmm.
to do that. But as a first time head coach who has been an offensive coordinator his whole career and has had to inherit every single quarterback he's worked with, like obviously he didn't draft Dak. He was Dak's backup for a couple of years.
Exactly.
He didn't draft Justin Herbert. He didn't draft Jalen Hurts. So to have that opportunity to say, hey, I'm the head coach now, I can bring a guy in to fit what I really want to do offensively, not have to make shift an offense to fit the guy I'm inheriting. I think as a fan, that's exciting. Should we go that quarterback route? What's kind of your thought process on that? Of whether we stick with Spencer or if we draft a quarterback. What do you think from just kind of things you've looked at with his career that you feel could really help with that development piece, which you've been void of for a long time?
All right, so let's see. If you go with Spence, I'm cool with it 100% because Spence shows some flashes here and there.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go with Spence, I'm cool with it. If you want to go with more of a running style quarterback like a Jalen Miro, I'd be cool with it. Develop his passing game. If you want to go with more like a, Cam Ward type player, like you want like a more or of a Shadur Sanders type player, like any type of quarterback you want, go ahead. And I feel like he can make any. I feel like go ahead and get his guy in, have his
Mm-hmm.
guy do what he want to do, and like you said, like have him like build his own instead of him having to like kind of have to go back like to try to fit in, like basically what LeBron said about Luca last night, like
Mm-hmm.
trying to fit in, not fit out. I want them to fit
Yeah.
in around you. So I don't want Kellen Moore to fit in. I want Kellen Moore to fit. I want them to fit in his scheme because this is why we got him here for a reason.
Right.
Like even if he decides to go with Carr for a year, I would not want to. I do not want Carr to stay. To be honest with you,
Right.
but
I don't think anybody does.
If he go with Carr and go with Carr for this year, I just want to see how he make it work. But I really want him to draft a quarterback. To be honest with you, even with
Hmm.
Spencer Rattler, I still want him maybe to draft a quarterback. Either that's like second round.
Hmm.
I almost want second round unless they want to go for like a Cam Ward or Shadir Sanders trade up. Other than that,
Hmm.
I'm more so would rather him go for the second round, maybe like and get like a maybe like a McMillan or Janetti, I mean
Hmm.
Genty or Mason Graham will go with defense. So I'm also want the second round. So maybe like a Miro could be there, Jackson
Yeah.
Dart. I know people talking about Kyler McCord.
Mhm.
So yeah, so whatever Kellen Moore want to do, I'm gonna be 10 toes with it because that's my
Yeah.
guy now. That because of you. So hey, it's all you. You got me on Kellen Moore train. So hey, if you let us down,
Yeah.
we all come back to
It's
you.
on me, right?
Yo,
If
yeah,
we
it's
let us
on you
down, it's
because you the
on
one
me.
that you the one that got everybody on the Kellen Moore train. So we're gonna same thing I said about Dennis Allen. I'm gonna ride till the wheels fall off.
Right.
I hope the wheels just don't fall off. I hope we build it up. I hope we build from a little car, so we build to like a scat pack to a
Hmm.
Hellcat to a demon. Cause I'm
Yeah.
trying to. I'm tired of seeing all the other teams celebrate. Every time the Super Bowl ends, I be like, man, boy, if I could see that black and gold one more time, man.
Yeah.
Cause I was only like what 2010, so I probably like I was 6 years old.
Oh man, you a baby.
Yes, I was 6 years old when the Saints last won the Super Bowl. And that fun fact, that's actually the first Super Bowl that I remember from start to finish.
Right.
So I won't need that feeling again. We almost had it in 2018 to they took it from us, but
Yeah.
I wanted to get back to that. So that's what we need to get back to. I'm sick
Gotcha.
and tired of seeing all the other teams celebrating. The
Right.
Kansas City Chiefs, the Eagles. I think it's time for that black and gold to celebrate. It's time for us to get back.
I feel you on that. And honestly, I've been seeing some people even saying like, man, it's still gonna take a longer time for us to get back and to winning and things like that. And honestly, Jalen, I feel like maybe the past couple years, I think if we had better coaching,
We
we
win
win
some
some of those
games. We
games
win,
we
yeah,
lost.
yeah. We win a lot of
Like
them games. We probably lost like
do I think we're a team right now that can consistently compete for championships like a Super Bowl? No, I do not.
no.
I think that is going to take some time. But do I think that with the right leadership, we could vie for our division title and kind of get back on track with that first? I do.
Absolutely.
And if we, and that's one of those things where we end up squeaking in a division title and we get killed in the wild card or
Hey,
or we just
experience.
lose. I think you feel like, okay, like year one, year two, this guy kind of at least got us back to feeling what it's like to one win the South again, and then really get that experience, like you said, in the playoffs, which would be beneficial for our young guys.
Yeah.
What we don't talk about with Jalen Hurts, for example, and him winning a title in his fourth season. I mean, he's 4 for 4, or I guess technically fifth season, but 4 for 4 as a starter going to the playoffs. And that type of experience, like your first playoff game ever, you're playing against Tom Brady. And you're actually playing pretty okay, but you just happen to go against a Tom Brady led
You go
team.
get Tom Brady, and
Then
that's
the
experience
second
that you
year,
need.
in the second year, you go to the Super
Super
Bowl,
Bowl.
outperform Patrick Mahomes. Third year, you have some adversity throughout the regular season. You basically lose your division essentially because you lose 6 games in a row, and you end up having to go on the road against a very hot Tampa Bay Bucks team, and
Took
they
another
kill you.
loss.
And then you come back, work your behind off, get to the playoffs again, and now you're Super Bowl champion. And so I think if we can get our guys that type of experience, I mean, granted, the Saints first, with the Peyton era, you get to the playoffs his first year, you don't go back the next couple of years. You kind of got 79, 8, and 8 seasons,
Hmm.
but you almost had that hunger of, hey, we were a quarter away from getting to our first ever Super Bowl. We got to get that back. And so you start to make the moves that's necessary. You bring in a Darren Sharper, who I guess we're not supposed to say his name on
Oh God,
airways, but
I'm not spitting
um,
him, boy.
you bring in a Jonathan Vilma. You bring in the Jeremy Shockey, guys that just are hard nosed, want to win, and then you end up winning the Super Bowl championship, and catapults you into that stability of being a contender every year. And I think that's all you can really ask of Kellen Moore. I keep on almost calling him Kalen DeBoer because the
Everybody,
name's so
yeah, like
similar, right?
we know we know we new to this. Like we not new to this. No, we know
Right,
how it feels to get a new coach coming in. First year, Kalen the boy. I know it's not about Alabama though, but Kalen the boy.
right.
We beat Georgia and lose to Vandy, and
Hmm.
then a lot of the guys talking about like they people on Twitter talking about so they care more about TikTok and the
Yeah.
chains and stuff like that. So now this year they're talking about some no more chains. We dialed in stuff now.
Hmm.
So like the growth. You need to have
Right.
growth from year to year. That's all. That's what we're always looking for. We're looking for growth
Exactly.
because we didn't see that
Exactly.
growth with Dennis Allen. We didn't see that growth. We
Yeah.
kept we were like we was here, then we get here, then we just steadily going down, down
Hmm.
until we at rock bottom.
And the funny thing is, and I feel like we gotta, with our fan base, we gotta put this disclaimer out. You can't judge Kellen Moore the same way you judge Dennis Allen. And
Yeah,
what I mean by that is when Dennis Allen was elevated to head coach, a big part of that was, hey, we have a team that can compete not just for the division, but compete in the NFC. This is a guy we trust. This is a guy that's led our defense to new heights, and we believe we'll do everything. And they try to do everything. They even tried to get Deshaun Watson. They tried to get Russell. Like
yeah,
they try to get Matthew Stafford. Like they tried to get guys that can come in and be his quarterback. They ended up going with James Winston and then Derek Carr a year later, which they really went out and essentially overpaid to get him. So they did everything they could around a guy who they assumed would keep us at least consistently competing for the division and winning division titles, which he did do. I think, Kellen, you got to kind of say, okay, we've missed the playoffs 4 years in a row. We're taking over an older roster.
take
We
a
need to
reset.
let him get his guys in, reset our mode of what we're going to be as a football team, because the Sean Payton era is over. Because
Oh,
because Dennis Allen's pretty much trying to do and operate the way Sean was operating,
hmm
um, and you just can't do that when you're not the guy,
yeah.
or when you're not that individual.
Well, you're not
So
Sean Payton, so
right. So it's gonna be interesting to see what Kellen does, and we just gotta have that wherewithal almost to say, okay, like these are where the things are changing. Look for those, I guess, those micro changes almost, as
hmm
opposed to thinking everything has to turn over
happened one year.
overnight. And
And
you
another
know
thing,
what's
like
gonna happen, right? Is
yeah,
we're probably gonna sign a decent free agent. Everybody gets excited about. We usually get one a year.
didn't get training
Draft,
camp.
training camp, there's always going to be some undrafted free agent that's apparently just
Gonna be
turning
the next
heads,
big thing.
and we don't see them do anything in
Mason Tipton.
games. Mason Tipton, exactly, for example. So we know us as fans, we're gonna get hella excited, and we're gonna have people saying Saints 14 wins, black and gold to the Super Bowl year one. And we gotta just kind of have that
Yeah.
grace. I do believe we can win our division and get a playoff spot, but I do think a lot has to happen over time for us to be consistent, to be in that title picture year in and year out. And I'm excited, bro, to
Oh
see
yeah.
if we can get to that. Like you mentioned earlier, Kellen Moore is 36. He's a young coach. He's a guy that you can grow with. And look, that's a 20-year career. Hell, he's still only in his mid 50s.
That's crazy when you
So
think about that. Like that's crazy.
right. So if it could be a long run. We just have to, I think, as
Give him
fans, give him
time.
the
Just
support and
give him time.
the org, and I know you see it all the time on the timeline. They treat our organization as if, I mean, they have levels of incompetence. I agree, right? But I've always said the one thing you can't say about the organization is that they don't try to provide their head coach with everything they've ever wanted. Whatever you
Facts.
want, we're going to try. We're going to go through hell and high water to get you what you
Facts.
want. That's why I like,
Facts.
even when we kind of talk about a trade up in the draft, I don't think the Saints won't try it. If Kellen says, "Hey, I really like that Cam Ward guy," or let's say the Titans and the Browns pass up on quarterbacks. Then it get tricky. Then you like, okay, well, we know the Giants gonna probably take one, but what
Yeah,
if they draft Matthew Stafford? Will they take one? Who knows? So then you get a little,
that's when you
you
thought.
start to say, okay, now who I got to get past? We know Jacksonville is not gonna take a quarterback. New England's not gonna take a quarterback. So now I got to try to get past the Raiders, who could possibly be signing
Good
Sam
time.
Darnold to a big time deal. So that quarterback market, bro,
Could
we just kind of get through March and we see some of these teams that was quarterback needy starting to
sign some people, maybe
sign
sign
some
some
people to the
vets.
long term deals. Cause like I'll say like the Raiders, for example, if they sign Sam Darnold to a 3 year, $150 million contract, that's a lot different than Kirk Cousins, who was coming off an Achilles injury,
Hmm.
was older, and in Atlanta still drafted Michael Penix Jr. Well, Sam Darnold gonna be 27 years old at the
Yeah,
time of this deal. You're not really doing that, right? So now you start to say, okay, well, we was probably looking at Milroe and Dart, or maybe some guys like Kyle McCord later. But
we might get
shoot,
maybe the QB1
Cam,
or QB2 in the draft,
like
maybe.
Cam and Shador might be falling, and we might have a shot. So it's gonna be interesting, man. This next month is gonna be fun, and so I think if the opportunity presents itself, I mean, based on history, I believe the Saints will try if Kellen Moore says, "Hey, I really want one of these two quarterbacks. Do whatever you can, trade whoever you want. You can give this first round pick and the next first round pick because I'm just that confident that if I have this guy, we don't need that first round pick next year because it's going to be a high one anyway. So
That's gonna be the
who
goal.
knows?
So number one thing I'm most excited about is the receiving core to see
Mm-hmm.
how Lave and Shaheed will look in this Kellen Moore scheme. Cause as you seen how AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, even Jahad Dotson, in the Super Bowl. So
Mm-hmm.
we still need to get that big body receiver. We still need to
We
get
do.
that guy. We need to get that big body receiver that be like our AJ Brown.
Right.
So we still need to get that. But with Olave and Shaheed with the speed, Olave with eating mid routes. I feel like that. Hey, we get our quarterback straight, whether that be Spencer, whether that be hopefully not Derek Carr, or that be a rookie. I feel like the offense could look fun next year. We
Yeah.
need to make sure the line be straight, make sure mostly health, and make sure we got to be
Right.
healthy. We got to be healthy. That's why I wouldn't be a. That's why I wouldn't mind a drafting a running back. Because you see, like
Yeah.
AK, I love AK, but he not really, he not really finishing the season. He can't really, he can't really finish the season now. Cause this is probably
Mhm.
one of his best seasons running the ball, and he still couldn't finish the season out.
Yeah.
So that's why I won't be mind us going with Genty. It would be great. Kellen Moore first draft pick, beat from his alma mater.
It'd be good. It'll be quite a story. I'll tell you that much, especially if they get going together. And you mentioned our trenches, especially on the O line, and I think, I mean, we probably saw this in the preseason that just our depth wasn't the best. Because we
Mm-hmm.
seen okay. I mean,
Our starters
Fuaga as a
played.
rookie was one of the best players at his position in the league. I think he allowed the fifth least amount of pressures, which is great for a rookie. And let's keep in mind, he started right tackle his whole career in college
And moved to left
and moved to
tackle.
left
And that's
tackle.
two different positions.
Right. You got Trevor Penning that spent his whole career at left tackle, moved to
More the
right
right tackle.
tackle, and improved drastically in pass protection, and obviously kept up what he does as a run blocker. Ruiz was okay, but again, with McCoy being hurt, we always talk about McCoy
Yeah, gotta
is
make sure
pretty
be
much
out.
the babysitter for Ruiz.
Yeah,
And
he
so with him being injured, it kind of hurt some things with Ruiz. And I think left guard, it was just a revolving door. We
yeah, we
couldn't
had
couldn't
like
find that person.
we had about
And
three or four.
I'm like, if we sign a guy, in free agency, if we say, okay, our big money acquisition in free agency going to be left guard because I want a veteran that I can put next to a young player in Fuaga. Already got a really smart player in Eric McCoy that's
Mm-hmm.
very talented, probably one of the best centers in the league. Hopefully he stays
Pro
healthy this
Bowler.
year
Our only Pro
and
Bowler.
he'll take care of everybody else, right? So, and then now you can kind of start saying, okay, we got our stable five. Now let's try to do some depth pieces.
Yep.
And I think you had some guys last year that probably played a lot that maybe if you had them as your backups and got more time to develop them, they'll be much better off. So I want to see how they do if they stick around another year, and then maybe kind of use your mid round picks on some of these interior offensive linemen that are available, and just say, hey, we're gonna put you in. You're gonna be a depth piece. We're gonna develop you, and then if you end up replacing somebody. Like, maybe Ruiz doesn't see his second contract, but we have a guy waiting in the wings to take over, or maybe we got a guy
Yeah,
at center, which I do think we need a backup center.
yeah,
And I
we
think,
definitely do.
what if we get a Seth McLaughlin who recovering from an ACL, and you just say, hey, we're gonna put you in there. And Seth's played on every level of the offensive line, so he brings that versatility too.
Boy, self, boy, that's all about back some high snap memories, boy. Low
Yes,
snap, let
I
he
said so. You know
he
what?
so he
And I
got his favorite.
You know what with Seth, man, because it was a bad. His last year at Alabama was bad. But I'll say this:
Hey, he did his
I
job
think
on Jordan Davis.
he did. I think we didn't take into account the size difference between Jalen Milrow and Bryce Young. And when you for 2 years have been snapping to somebody who's honestly sub 6 feet, and then you have to snap to a 6'2", 6'3" guy who's more times than not looking to run, it's like,
Hmm.
well, yeah, it was low, but that was at Bryce chest 2 years ago. So it's just kind of like trying to figure that out.
Bryce did have to reach down for some
A
snaps too.
few, a few,
He was
but
better. He was better at Bryce. He was way better than Bryce than he was with Miro. I don't know what
yeah,
happened to him and Miro. Their connection. They like I because some like I think with the snap he had against Michigan was like it was like on the ground, like it was almost
yeah.
like a ground ball. And man, I can't believe that was Nick Saban last game. I'm still mad
Yeah, it
about that.
sucks, man. But yeah, but for
But yeah,
brighter things, just saying like a guy like him that's recovering from an injury. I know there's a few guys. I know there's a center at Purdue that I kind of been looking into as well. Just having a true center because I don't think
mm,
we gotten a true center in behind Eric McCoy.
now we're getting up a
Um,
guards that
and
play
yeah, we've
both.
been having like those guards that can be centers,
Yeah,
and that just hurts a little bit.
yeah, it's
So
not gonna help
if
the hurts the
yeah, if
line
he
like
can
even
build those
more.
trenches up on
That's
the
what it starts
offensive
with. It
line
starts with offense and defense line. I need the
and defensive
defensive
line.
line is my biggest concern on the
Hmm.
defense. I need I need that 4-man pressure like we had Cam and Trey with that 4-man pressure.
Hmm.
We don't have to send no blitzes. We need to
Right.
get the offense line, the offense and defense line. That's what it starts with. Before we get into the skills position, it starts in the trenches. That's
Yeah, and we.
and that's in college football, NFL. It starts in the trenches.
Hmm.
Because for one, whoever our quarterback is, you gotta have time. And whoever our corners help our cornerbacks out. You know, don't have them be covered for like 8 seconds. Have them like
Right.
go and get in there pressure, get the quarterback like mobile out of the way. That's how you get picks. That's how Cooper DeZine got that
Yep.
pick six. Get some pressure on. That's how Zach Bond, Saints legend, got that pick.
You're
Uh,
right, man. And to your point, I think it really when we talk about defensive line, I think it's really the interior defensive line. You
mm,
got Brazil who did well, was top five in sacks at his position, but he needs a running mate, and I think he needs
yes.
a game record. Because our two edges, um, Chase Young and Grando, believe it or not, they were within the tops of the leagues in pressures.
And it's crazy.
And they didn't get sacks.
Uh Young should have had way more. He missed a lot of. He could have had a double digit season, double digit
Yeah.
sack season. He only had 5.5, but he could have had 10.5 if he just finished
Yep.
some of them sacks. So I hope we honestly can bring. I would love to bring him back. Chase. I hope we better bring him back.
Yeah.
Depending on how much what number going to be and stuff like that. But if we can bring him back, with Grando, we need to make sure we get another D tackle alongside Brazil.
Yeah.
The D line
You
could,
know,
make a big jump from
what do
last year to next year.
we bring a Walter Nolan in there, maybe a
Hey,
Kenny
Walter
Dent,
Nolan.
I would love, everybody's gonna say we Bama homers, man, but I would love Tim Smith
Hey,
lined up next to
people can
Brazil.
understand that we watching the games. We see
We
how these
watching the
boys
game.
we see how these boys playing just because hey, the who got the most Super Bowls in the league? Alabama players.
Alabama.
I'm telling you, man, who got the most players
Philly
in the
got it
league?
right, bro. Philly understands. Georgia,
SEC,
Alabama.
man, go
Georgia,
get
Alabama.
SEC. That's all. That's what I want to draft. Draft everybody from the SEC. That's what they boys did. I want everybody from the SEC
Hmm.
in New Orleans next year, except for LSU
You got it.
players. Lead,
You
lead,
got
lead them boys. Lead them boys where they at. Except for Mason
yeah,
Taylor.
yeah, they can stay where they
Except for
at,
Taylor.
man.
Bring in Mason Taylor. That's the only one I want. Mason
Yeah,
Taylor.
he can come. He can come because he come
Yeah,
from good stock now. He
yeah.
come from
You
good
keep
stock.
him,
You
but
can bring
everybody
him
else from
in, but
LSU, yeah, they stay over there. We don't need them over there.
yeah,
Unless you Jaden Daniels and them boys. Other than that, stay over that side.
I'll take Zay Alexander too at cornerback if we want to get another outside corner, put Alante back in
We
the
do.
slot.
We do need to get another corner
You
too.
know,
Yeah,
even though
Lante got to get back in the slot. He done the
yeah,
outside. Shout out to Kool Aid though. Kool Aid, hey, Belmont guy. Kool Aid, hey, Kool Aid played well this season, man. He did way more on Mike Evans than what Lattimore did against
yeah,
Evans and when they played. So
yeah. And
yeah,
I think we should tag. I don't think we should sign a Debo yet long term. Like I think we should start discussions, and then if it
yeah, you
feels
get
like, oh, there's a price that's not working, we put that tag on them and say, hey, we're gonna
yeah.
franchise tag so we
Cause
can
he come out
figure
for
this out.
injury too. He come out for
Yeah,
injury. Cause he like break his leg or something.
yeah,
And
yeah. He
as a
broke the
cornerback,
strongest. Yeah,
see, that's a scary injury to come back from. It's not like a ACL injury, like
right.
so you got to come back from that. You got
Yeah,
see,
he been
yeah, I
looking
see,
good in
yeah, I
recovery.
see he ran like what 23 miles per hour or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
on the treadmill. So and he's our ball hawk, so he's our
Yep.
ball hawk. Hey, I know I be saying stuff about him about these penalties, man, but I can't deny the fact that he somehow always be around the ball to pick it off. What he did against the Cowboys and stuff like that.
Yeah, for
So
sure, man. But all in all, man, that's why I say like, this next, I think the league year begins a month from, I think, well, less than a month now, probably in 3 weeks, the new league year begins. So there's a lot that's gonna come through, like what's going on with Derek Carr's contract, because if he's still on the roster by March 15th, that's $30 million he automatically getting. If
oof.
he's if he's here, I think the first day of the league year, he gets 10 million. So we got to decide what that's gonna look like.
I think
You
he's
mentioned
gone.
guys like
I think he's
Chase
gone.
Young and Adebo. What we gonna do with them? Because I do think we're gonna try to take care of in-house guys first, and of course, if we get rid of Derek Carr, whether that be trade Tennessee, I'm looking at you. Um,
Yeah, please.
or cut or straight up cutting, you're gonna have to restructure guys like Cam, Demario, AK, maybe
Mm,
Pete Warner again, just to make the cap compliant and things like that, which is fine. Because I mean, do you want to kick the can down the road with guys that are at the tail end of their career? No. But also them being at the tail end of the career, they're not about to get you any type of draft compensation right now. So you got to kind of take for what it is. So the next month, I think is going to be big, and then it's going to give us an idea of what the draft looks like, and then we can really start to, guess, formulate an opinion on what our season or what our season is going to be. But we're about to close it out in a little bit, man. But just any closing thoughts, just about the Kellen Moore hire, the um, just the Saints in general, and just kind of what you're most excited about, at least on just say the next couple of months being free agency in the draft.
All right, well, next couple months, most excited, to see what free agency gonna happen. Who gonna be that one guy that Saints signed that everybody gonna think that's a top 10 player in the league at some point. So I can't wait to see who that's gonna be. And then with the draft, like the draft can be so many different options, like a Mason Graham or Will Johnson, Ashton Genty, or quarterback wise, do they trade up for Cam Ward? Do they trade up for Shadir Sanders? Do we get like a Jackson Dart in the second round, like a Jalen Murrow or Kyler McCord or McMillan? So really, just the draft is what I'm really most excited for because the draft gonna show, like I said earlier, like that's gonna be our foundation. This first draft class is gonna be the foundation for Kellen Moore's success in New Orleans. So that's where I'm starting from there. And what the other question was? The first one. What the other question was?
It was just, just kind of just any closing thoughts just on Kellen Moore and just the Saints in general. That's all.
Kellen Moore, my guy. I think get me a Kellen Moore shirt, because of you. So hey, so thoughts on Kellen Moore? Welcome to New Orleans. Let's go ahead and get to work. Um, I did have something I want to say. Don't you find it weird that Derek Carr was not in New Orleans for the Super Bowl? Cause normally
Mm-hmm.
when the Super Bowl come to like the whole city, a lot of players be out. Like we had like Spencer Rattler out here, but our starting quarterback
Mm-hmm.
was nowhere to be found.
Um, I got a little insight on that. I think for the most part, I believe conversations had already been starting with Derek Carr and the Saints organization just about, his future here and where he wanted to be. And I think it's more of a mutual thing. I don't think it's we're just trying to get off of Derek Carr and don't want to pay him. And I don't think it's solely he doesn't want to be here. I think he came here for Dennis Allen. I think we have to understand that, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
he came here to play for Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen is no longer here. It was very clear that we were trying to look for a youth movement at the quarterback position, whether that was Jake Hayner or Spencer Rattler. And then you have a new head coach, a young head coach coming in, and young head coach and quarterback go hand in hand, and they don't usually inherit older quarterbacks and stick with
Mm-hmm.
that. So I think a lot of that writing was on the wall for him already, and I think conversations about okay, what might be some places because he does have a no trade clause. Let's be honest about that. And you want to be able to trade him, right? Because you want to be
Mm-hmm.
able to get something back for him instead of having to cut him and lose him for nothing, the same way the Raiders did. So you don't want that. So him not being here wasn't a surprise just because of where the relationship is and what they're working towards. They haven't even done a hype video. They did a hype video for every damn player on the roster
That was crazy. You
except
see
him.
nothing.
Like Spencer's played six
He made his
games
own.
on a highlight reel.
He made his own.
You
He
are
made it.
starting quarterback for 10 games, 5-5, and had some really good highlights to start off the year. Nothing. So I think that kind of gave us a little bit of insight about what's going on there. And I think just right now they're just conducting business on what that looks like and how do both parties get something out of it. Because look, on from a player standpoint, Derek Carr got to get his money. Like I'm not gonna be mad at him for that. It's
Oh
not
yeah, I
his
don't blame
fault.
him.
We signed him to that deal, so he needs to try to make sure his financial situation is as secure as it possibly can be. He's getting up there in age. He's had pretty much two injury-riddled seasons. He needs to take care of him and his family. From a
Mm-hmm.
Saints standpoint, from an organization standpoint, they got to figure out a way to where they're not basically cash strap paying a player that's no longer on their roster, and being able to really build around somebody younger. So I see both sides of it all, and more times than not, honestly, whether I like the player or not, I'm going to be on the player side of it all. So I mean, you paid Derek Carr, you gave him
Yeah,
that contract. He's supposed to squeeze every ounce or every penny he can out of that contract. So
yeah. I
it'll
can't
be
blame him
interesting to
for it.
see.
I can't blame him for it. You know.
Yeah, so yeah, it
Another
wasn't a
thing.
surprise, but it I mean to your point, I mean it definitely it wasn't I mean it wasn't a secret. You couldn't hide it because the quarterback of the host I mean, they brought Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston was our
Jamie took
host,
over.
right?
Jamie took
Like hell,
over.
they didn't even bring Drew. Jameis was our Jameis was our host. If that told you anything about how a guy can represent the city, and not even from here, but just the time he spent here, and being from the Gulf, the Gulf region, um, being able to celebrate and represent our city well. So it was cool. Better him than Derek anyway. I think he has the personality for it.
Yeah. Another thing I want to see, say, there might be. I heard there might be some talks about Kellen Moore maybe adding a friend to his coaching staff. Maybe it could be the quarterback coach. He works on ESPN. I know you know him. Dan Orlovsky. I would love it.
Yeah,
I would love to hire Dan as like a quarterback coach or something. I would love it because Dan got a great football mind. 'Cause I love
right,
watching him on Get Up and stuff way more than a lot of other people who don't know. They just say stuff a
right,
hot takes, but he actually like breaks down the game, breaks down the film. He actually knows what he actually like looking at.
right.
So we think about like Dan Orlovsky maybe join
Okay,
the
I'll
coaching
tell you.
staff.
When I mentioned that, I was just kind of joking because I like, to your point, I like Dan Orlovsky. He's become one of my favorite sports analysts because of how he breaks the game down. Like one thing that comes to mind was um, they use like some new technology at ESPN, and he basically was able to beat Russell Wilson on the play. Uh, and he was kind of diagnosing of, okay, this is what Russell is seeing, and this is what if the defense does this, this is how he's supposed to attack it, that type of thing. And that was just extremely insightful that I think as your average fan, you don't get anymore from a sports analyst aspect. So much like Kellen, a guy that's a long time backup, backed up some really good quarterbacks. And it's not an
Stafford.
accident when you have a multi-year career in the National Football League. That means you are one of the 53 best players on your team, whether you're starting or not, and you play a big role. And so when you talk about being a quarterback coach and having that responsibility of developing that room and making sure the undrafted free agent on the practice squad sees the game just as well as the starting quarterback. That's just kind of what you want to have, and I think a guy like that could make life easy
for a rookie
for Kellen
quarterback.
Moore too. But it'll more than likely be Nuss, who I think technically would be the OC and work with the quarterback. So it'll be interesting to see what that looks like. But I would love Dan Orlovsky to come. I just think he's a good guy. Would love a quarterback to grow with him. And him and Kelly have a really good relationship. So we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. See.
But yeah, but anything else you got before we wrap up?
Let's see. Let's see. I think I covered everything I wanted to talk about. You know,
Okay,
my
good, man.
head coach locked in with him. So yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready to get it started. I'm ready to see how we're gonna look. I'm ready for looking next 5 years. How far we're gonna come. I'm ready to see we're
Yes,
gonna.
sir.
I'm ready to see if we're gonna the Saints football really back. I can't wait to see. I think we're gonna be back. I
Good,
trust
man.
Kellen
Look,
Moore. Hey, a lot of people against it. That's why I love it even more. I love being on the
boom.
side where everybody doubting. That's
Yep.
what we're gonna do. A lot of people doubt Dan Quinn. They was one game away from the Super Bowl. So I'm ready to see. I'm ready to see how we gonna roll.
Hell yeah, man. Well, man, look, I appreciate you coming on the show and just being able to rap about Kellen Moore. You're welcome anytime. There's always like I said, it's an open door policy. You tell me what you want to talk about and when you want to talk about it, and we can get it going. I know we're gonna be having
Oh
some
yeah,
episodes and some talks about Bama, especially come
that
come
spring.
spring game A-Day. We got to see who's showing out in that quarterback room.
Woo,
So
that's
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 gonna
that's
be
one right there. I
interesting.
can wait for that one.
It's because man, we haven't had a quarterback competition just like this. I don't think since AJ McCarron graduated, and we were trying to figure out who was going to be the guys to replace him. You had Coker and you had Blake Sims kind of vying for that spot. So um, I'm excited to see what that is. So we're gonna have to uh,
Definitely.
talk that conversation.
Hey
But
man, we gotta talk about Duke too. We gotta talk about Duke one time too. Ain't
of
you a Duke
course,
fan too?
man, you,
Gotta talk about
you,
Duke before March. Before the NCAA tournament. We gotta see. Duke gotta get title too. We ain't won one since 2015.
yeah, we need a ring. It's been too
So we
long.
need to get
We,
one
we
this year
need
too. So
we need
yeah.
succeed. We need Mr. Succession to get it going. All right,
Oh
because
yeah.
you handpicked by the goat. You gotta start bringing some some championships down
Oh
there.
yeah.
So we'll see, man. But y'all, man, this episode gonna get posted real soon, and make sure you guys check in with Jalen, man. Again, YouTube channel Jalen Davis. Crazy reactions to different
Sure.
things going on in the sports world, man. Whatever your flavor, he got it. I'll tell you that much. But
Sure.
as we always end the show, man, if there's anything that we said that offended you, it's a good thing, right? It's an opportunity for us to learn. It's an opportunity for you to teach us. All we ask is that you keep it respectful. Peace.
All right, man. Bro,